Welcome back to the 0 to 7 podcast, where each week we talk about our business decisions and strategies to reach our goal of going from 0 to 7 figures of income in just 1 year. I love how you're making faces at the camera during the intro when, like, it definitely is not in the shot at all.
Oh, I know. That's the best part.
That's nice.
Mostly it makes you guys laugh later.
It's just for Dominic. This week I did that. I realized it was such a pain in the butt. It was a pain in the to go back and try to find where it's always me where I use foul language and then have to go back and find out where where I need to bleep it.
Is that what you're looking for?
So now I moved it up here and I put the bleep button in. So now
he puts that on his side. He puts it on his side, so it's a little easier.
Because let's be real, I don't have to bleep you out too much.
Are you guys used to the button yet?
These poor people. These poor people listening to this.
Well, you watch. About 30 seconds in, there is all the drops.
Our viewership is just gonna this guy likes this button.
What's
too
gonna
much.
do it? It's gonna drop.
All right, what did we actually do this week?
Nothing.
My headphones.
Where does headphones go?
But what we did this week, it felt like nothing.
Yeah, because we did a whole bunch of other things. It's spring break. Everybody's out doing other things, and we had to help.
We had 4 people take vacation, which good for them. They should take a vacation. It's important. But it meant that we had so much to do.
I think I had like 1 hour every day to do something other than what was already on the schedule.
Yeah, there was a couple days that it seemed like I didn't even have that. It was rough.
Yep. The messages keep coming in.
Yeah. So we literally sit down to do the podcast and we're like, oh no, what are we going to talk about? I'm not going to talk about the photo shoots that I did this week. That's not fun. So I said, Brad, you're going to figure out what we're going to talk about. So what are we going to talk about?
Well, here's what I did this week.
What 2 hours of work did you do this week?
I went and, we got a lot of people's schedules. So actually, the schedule's looking pretty good. We got some new cleaners on, and we have a lot of... we added some more employees. Yeah. And as soon as we added them, the schedule's filled up. Yeah. So that's been working out good, as we always talked about in the past. But we're not here just to fill up the schedule. We're here to overflow the schedule, need more help. So I met with somebody that wants to do sales for us. They've been referred to us by someone that's known them for a very long time. So we went to lunch with them, met them, and I actually met them last week too. So we got that going for us. And she is going to go out with Julia, and Julia is the one that does a lot of our sales for us. So she's going to go out with Julia next week, see what she thinks, and we can go from there. But our idea around it is Julia seems to be finding a lot of the bigger commercial ones. So why not focus on having her doing the same exact thing? Mm-hmm. So in a pretty big town. So we're gonna try that out. And it seems like she knows everybody around there. Doesn't matter who it is, she just somehow knows them. So works out good. We got that going for us.
Well, that's definitely helpful. So with our other business is how we got Julia to start doing sales for Window Still. And then when we started Lime Green Clean, we kind of like added on to her workload and had to like figure out what works and what doesn't work for her, and like kind of like a little bit, because I mean it's completely different than what she had to do for Window Still. It's completely 180. Yeah,
and we talked last week going, what do we need to do for the future to make this work? Or which avenue do you want to go down? Because we can't just keep having to do both all the time,
right?
Because
that's a lot. One always suffers.
So we talked about that, figured out kind of a game plan with that. So we're doing pretty well with that. In a couple weeks, we're gonna figure out we're gonna see how it's going and then go from there. So I forgot what question you asked.
Well, I was just asking, like, so like we started with Julia, and then we saw the benefits of even, I don't want to downplay what Julia does, but like even a little bit of work goes a long way with Lime Green.
Yeah.
And she's been doing way more than a little bit of work and has been like finding us tons and tons of business, to the point where like we are looking at our goal on the wall and being like, we should have made a bigger goal.
Yeah. Every day we come in here, I just laugh at how this is working. You know how you guys plan it out. You plan it out. You're like, this is what I got to do. Just got to follow this. And in the back of your mind, you're like, then
you forget a month, and then
in the back of your mind, you're like, well, maybe that is a pretty big goal. And then the next day you'll come in, you're like, how in the world did we even come up with this? And it's just working, and it's going right as planned. So
yes.
But anyways, we're gonna probably try out this new girl, see how that goes. And if it works out with 2 sales, we'll probably go ahead with that. But we have her, she has like a minimum every week that she now has to go in for kind of what we've come up with. Like she has a minimum, and we have, I don't know if we should talk about what we take to them. We have like homemade cake pops that we take to them. So she has a set amount every single day. Every day.
And they're lime green.
Yeah, they're lime green. So we got them every single day. Every single week she gets a supply of them, and then we have to figure out how she's going to give them out every single week without eating them.
Everybody likes cake pops, unless they're allergic.
Yeah. So, and they're pretty good. So we got that. But anyways, that's kind of...
You can attest to how good they are, huh?
Oh, I had one yesterday.
Oh, just one. Oh,
I was like, Julia, you're trying to just give me this box, so you don't have to go give it to somebody else, aren't you? I was like, you're supposed to be going out and giving these away.
The first time we did this, we didn't have it really lined up with a lot of
not even close.
Stuff that we didn't have it lined up with a lot of walkthroughs that we we're going to do. We didn't really have it planned out. And so we had a box of like 4 dozen.
Yeah.
Just sitting here in the office, and that was incredibly dangerous.
They never made it to anyone's house, anyone's commercial cleaning. None of them made it there.
They made it to this commercial cleaning.
Yeah, and that was it. The entire building. But anyways, what else we got? We did some hiring. We did that last week. We're figuring out the method of getting people started and kind of getting them trained. And since now we have more people, it's actually a lot easier to, like, these bigger jobs that we got, that we can actually just say, hey, it was going to take us 6 hours, but now we got 2 people. It's going to take 3 hours, a little easier. So we've been able to fit in things in a little bit different there. So that's been helping out. And also,
we've been streamlining our hiring process. Yeah. And I'm realizing now that I actually haven't talked about this yet on the podcast. But we took both of our businesses, and we like broke it down into how many steps or how many times does a person have to change hands in order to like get through our like onboarding process, basically. And like for Windows Still, I want to say I counted it up, and it was like 30.
Yeah.
There's like 30 messages that like go back and forth in order to get somebody all the way completely through training. And with Lime Green, it's not quite as complicated with Lime Green, but it's definitely at least 10 to 12 steps.
Yeah. And once we get the training, the online training that we were trying to get done, finished, then there'll be a couple more steps, but hopefully those steps inside the training will actually make it a little easier outside.
Yeah. And so what we're actually using is we're using a platform called Asana. And it's basically like a to-do list, checklist, team management organizer thing.
Yeah. So it's similar to like Trello, and what's the other ones?
Monday.
Yeah. So
there's a whole bunch of them. But what I ended up sticking with Asana. I've tried Trello before, and it's a little bit overwhelming. The UI is just a little bit in your face and not very friendly. Whereas Asana, it's pretty straightforward, and you can get really in depth. Should you choose to click on those things?
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can add onto it, which I do, like the dates and the time.
There's a lot of automations, which we basically have it set up where if you're looking at the screen, like you've got a bunch of columns of tasks, and each task is a person. And so like when our hiring manager, director, person guy basically finds somebody that he's like, hey, I think you should hire this person. He puts it in the first like request to hire stage.
Yeah.
And then that automatically just him creating that task automatically creates a subtask in that person for Brad to watch the interview. And then when Brad decides to send an offer, he moves it over to offer sent and gets the offer sent out. And then when you put it into the offer sent, it automatically starts a 1 week timer on that person. And if they don't accept the offer within that 1 week, then our hiring manager then gets a notification and he like goes into it and sees finds out what's happening. And then after that, they go into an accepted stage. And then we have another member of our team that has a whole bunch of onboarding stuff that she has to do, like creating their email and like all of this kind of stuff. And then it's just kind of like moving them along this path, and all you're doing is clicking on them and just dragging them over.
Yeah.
It's really straightforward and it's really simple. And it's automatically notifying
everybody,
4 or 5 people of like different tasks, and it automatically puts it on their dashboard on Asana. And it's really, really helpful of keeping everybody in track. And even our trainer really likes to look at it to see how many people are coming.
Yeah. That was one of the things she had before. She was like, well, I don't know who's actually coming. But now I think now that she realizes like how many, she gets a little overwhelmed when she sees how many like are sent offers and how many are but she, like those ones actually get narrowed down to like half of those.
Yeah. Like so some people don't make it past that stage. Yeah, but
so there's certain steps that they don't make it past, which then she only sees the ones that made it down to the funnel.
Correct.
She used to, but now she got a little overwhelmed when she saw it the first time because she's like, that's a lot of people, but they actually never made it there.
Yeah.
So it's actually overall, when she understood that part, it made it a whole lot easier. And now she's like, okay, yep, I can prepare for here's what's coming.
Yeah, and it just notifies everyone of like what has to get done, and just make sure that like nobody gets stuck on a thing and we don't realize it. Because like they'll get further down and like there's one step that they have to complete a certain kind of training within a certain time period. And if they don't complete that time period, then it automatically puts on a task for Brad to go ahead and say, hey, sorry, this isn't working out. Because if they can't do that, and it's a long time period.
Yeah.
If they can't figure it out within
a set number, like
this number of
time,
weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, we can't rely on that person. And so we just have that whole onboarding process just automated. And it's it's
helping a lot.
It is really helpful, especially when you're hiring as many people as we are, in the hundreds, so. Well,
anyways, what problems did we run into this week? We ran into some problems this week, Dean.
You ran into problems. I was out doing other stuff, out in Timbuktu.
And it's very random how many of these problems we had, all within 24 hours.
Oh, I know.
Every single one of them goes, my vacuum's broke. And it's within 24 hours. Everyone says the same exact thing. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it all happened, but it all happened at the same time. And the vacuums are all different ages, I should say.
They were all brand new, and they've all been used for a different amount of time.
Yes, there we go. They all had the same problem.
They were conspiring against you, Brad.
Yeah, it's funny because all of them, which then brought us onto a way to solve the problem, figure out a plan. Because once we got enough of them, we figure out it's probably recurring. There's the things having on. Anyways, all it happened to be, all of them were the same problem. The hoses were filled. They weren't being cleaned out. The hoses were filled. The filter looked fine. Everything else looked fine. Everything was all cleaned out and perfectly, but the hose was clogged up.
Yep.
So we
simple vacuum maintenance that is going to make its way into our training.
So we talked about on the interview that, hey, the preventative maintenance is part of the process. You're gonna have your vacuum. This is your thing that you're gonna have to do. Mm-hmm. So, but now making it sounds bad, but dumbing it down to make a video to show this is how to do it. And then if you make it that easy, it'll be easy for somebody to know, even doesn't matter their skill level, they'll be able to do it.
Yep.
So make it super easy, figure it out, and go from there.
Basically, like the WikiHow. Have you ever seen like the WikiHow articles of like how to do this or whatever? It'll just take incredibly complex things and just like narrow it down into like a step-by-step of, I went down a rabbit hole of like how to become your own internet service provider. And it was on WikiHow, and there was like illustrations and everything. And I was cracking up.
That's funny.
But anyway, I digress.
Yeah. So
do we have any other problems?
No, that was pretty much it.
Just cleaning cleaners.
Yeah. Other than we did work on because on the app and how the cleaners are able to like provide photos. We actually had our first one where because we say it on there and have people do it on there, but not everyone does it. But we actually had our first one that turned out really good. We did before and after. Mm-hmm. It was nice. We saw those and they were actually pretty beneficial. So I'm going to try to see if we can encourage people to do them more. So that was good. It was kind of a pretty bad house. It was a move in, move out one, but it just hadn't been touched in a while. So we got it all cleaned up, did some before and afters. And the client never responded back to them about the before and after photos because they do come with the invoice. Mm-hmm. But I think it was actually really good. Really good information to have. Those are all really good. What else we had? Good record
keeping.
Yeah. Oh, equipment. Ordering your supplies.
Oh, yes.
This was actually one big thing we figured out. It may have been last Friday, I think is when it was. But anyways, ordering supplies. So that's been kind of a trouble to figure out how to actually do that part.
It's a scale problem.
Other than because everyone's not in the same location. Like if we had everybody come back to the office, bring their equipment back every single night, that's a whole different story. Mm-hmm. They just pick up what the supplies they need that day and go on from there. But everyone's starting from their house every day.
Yeah, like we have people that live 2 hours from here.
Yeah.
And it's only going up because we're like continuing to expand out, but like so it's just not feasible for them to, no one really wants to drive 4 hours just to pick up a bottle of cleaner. Like it's not.
Yeah. No one wants to drive.
It doesn't make any sense.
We don't want people to drive all the time. We want to make it like we don't want to drive. We don't want to make you drive. We don't want to make the cleaners drive. We don't want to waste time. So we figured out we're going to start with Home Depot. We figured out a plan with them to someone can actually literally go there, get the supplies they need, and get them paid for without trying to do this whole process of ordering online and doing all this. So they have a nice, I just called them up, figured out I said, here's our problem. How can we solve this problem? And they showed me exactly how to do it. You got this method or this method, and they gave us a nice, easy method to do it. So that makes it nice and easy. So the cleaner can just go there. Mm-hmm. They can go there right now, get the supplies, walk out, go back to their cleaning.
Yeah, just a method where like we don't have to provide the cleaners with their own credit card, business credit card, because that's sticky.
That's another whole.
It's
story.
Hard. We don't have to try to reimburse them because that's also just as difficult.
Yeah. Need to make it simple and scalable. So the perfect scenarios what we had is the cleaner was actually 2 miles. Was at her cleaning and she was 2 miles away from the nearest Home Depot, but it was 30-minute drive back to here. Mm-hmm. So that would have wasted a full hour, or she could have been done in 15 minutes.
Yes.
So that was much easier. She's able to go back to taking care of that. So anyways, it worked out really well. I think we're going to continue with that. That's actually going to be a nice, easy way to get stuff really fast. Also, we've talked about getting like storage units somewhere in Detroit that may, and we still may actually
like
do
satellite storage units that people can access. Yeah.
That they can just go and so pretty much somewhere to store supplies, and it all had to be like internal heated, like it has to be temperature controlled units as we had to get. So we might get those for like the big things where they can just go pop over here, grab this stuff here and there. That's the stuff that we can buy in bulk that they can pick up like once a month or something.
Right.
So, but other than that, they can get all that same stuff at the Home Depot if needed. So get them right away. Time to go. So those are kind of some things I've been trying to figure out, but
supply chain.
Yeah.
Which is not something that we have to solve in Windows still so much.
No, because we don't have to there's not physical items.
Right. There's any physical items that are, it's not like something that is used. It's not like it doesn't run out.
Yeah. A physical item that has to be taken somewhere. That's the part that's the hardest part, especially because on the photography side, signs. People want us to do signs. I haven't figured that out. Like the fact that we have to take a physical item of the agents to somewhere causes a whole nother logistics nightmare, because now how does that sign get to that photographer to then go take it to there. So
in a matter of hours.
Logistics nightmare.
Yeah.
Trying to figure that out. So which means it kind of takes our whole model and it's the complete opposite of our whole model. So it kind of be like we only have one person dedicated to that. So anyways, physical items. That's what we're So good part is figure out the physical items for the cleaning side. We can probably implement it for the other side.
And that would be the first time that Lime Green Clean gets to teach Windowstill something.
It's true. And actually, if we had all those storage units, we could actually figure out the sign thing too. So anyways, there's more options there.
Ooh.
I was thinking about that. This actually
oh my.
That might solve another problem. So anyways, I didn't even think about that till right now. You guys heard it here first. So anyways, those are kind of all our things we had this week. Not too many big things happen other than we're just managing and hiring and just figuring out the supplies. But what number are we at, Dean?
Oh yes, we almost tied our best week.
Oh,
but it's kind of like a stealthy best week because we still haven't had our real commercial. Like none of our commercial cleaners have like.
We sent out the invoices today.
We sent out the invoices, but none of them have paid yet. So I'm gonna laugh when next week it's just gonna blow our blow it out of the water. But this week we went up $3,100, so we're at 24,300.
What's our recurring?
24,300, and our recurring's up still at 70.
Nice.
We hit it. We're
What's our
sticking
goal?
to it.
That's our goal. We're sticking with it. And that's all we got this week, Dean.
That's literally it. It's a shorter podcast. But thank you all so much for tuning into this week 13 of the 0 to 7 podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, we appreciate it if you would go ahead and subscribe to whatever platform you're listening to. If you really like our podcast, we of course appreciate every 5-star rating. If you want more content, you want to talk to us, have any questions, feel free to join our 0 to 7 figure entrepreneur Facebook group, where we can answer any of those questions. And that's it.
Sweet. We'll see ya.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. See ya.